Have you ever looked up at a massive airplane soaring through the sky and wondered how something so heavy, so impossibly large, can float effortlessly above the ground? It seems almost magical, like defying the laws of nature itself. Yet, as Richard Feynman once suggested, the universe isn't full of mysteries beyond our reach. It's full of patterns waiting to be noticed, understood, and appreciated. The first step toward seeing the magic in flight is realizing that it is not magic at all. Every movement, every rise into the air, is a demonstration of principles so elegantly simple that a child could understand them if only they were given the right perspective. Lift, the force that allows airplanes to defy gravity, exists not because of some invisible hand or secret formula, but because air behaves in consistent, predictable ways. When air flows over a wing, it accelerates along the curved top surface, creating a lower pressure above the wing than below it. This pressure difference pushes the airplane upward, giving it the very freedom to glide, turn, and rise as if it were weightless. Yet, understanding this doesn't come from memorizing equations or diagrams. It comes from curiosity, from the willingness to look at ordinary experiences, like blowing across the top of a piece of paper and watching it rise, and asking, why? Curiosity is the spark that transforms the mundane into the extraordinary. Think of a wing slicing through the sky as a conversation between the airplane and the air, where every gust, every ripple, is a subtle partner in a dance orchestrated by nature. The air is not a passive medium. It responds, it presses, it yields, and it resists, all in accordance with simple rules that, once understood, can be harnessed to achieve feats that might otherwise seem impossible. And here is the lesson that Feynman would remind us of. The universe is not hostile to our understanding. It is friendly, waiting for us to notice the elegance in everyday phenomena. Observing the way a bird's wings cut through the air, or the way a leaf twirls to the ground after falling, we realize that lift is not only a physical force, but also a metaphor. It is a testament to what is possible when knowledge is applied with insight, when the laws of nature are respected rather than feared. It teaches us that seemingly impossible achievements, like sending enormous metal machines across continents at hundreds of miles per hour, are simply the result of careful observation, thoughtful experimentation, and persistent curiosity. If we can understand airflow and pressure, we can understand how to rise above obstacles in our own lives, how to harness forces around us that at first appear to work against us but in reality are waiting to propel us forward. The sky is not a barrier. It is an invitation, a challenge to explore, to question, and to rise. Every time an airplane leaves the ground, it is proof that understanding, combined with action, transforms limitation into liberation. It reminds us that the extraordinary is always born from the ordinary, waiting only for attention, insight, and a willingness to see. But what if I told you that the very thing we take for granted, the air beneath our wings, is more mysterious than it appears at first glance? The world above us seems ordinary. Clouds drifting, birds gliding, planes tracing their invisible paths across the horizon. But beneath this calm lies a symphony of forces in constant motion, each one interacting with the other in ways we cannot see, yet can predict if we look carefully enough. Imagine standing under a plane as it lifts off, feeling the roar of engines and the rush of air. It is a moment when physics is no longer a distant abstraction but a tangible, almost overwhelming presence. Lift does not announce itself in advance. It emerges quietly, almost imperceptibly at first, until suddenly it asserts itself, hoisting tons of metal into the sky. Richard Feynman's approach to understanding these phenomena is a reminder that complexity is not inherently intimidating. It is merely a puzzle to be unraveled with patience and curiosity. The suspense lies in this. One small miscalculation, one unnoticed variable, and the dance of forces can falter. Airplanes seem unstoppable, but their flight depends on subtle, delicate balances. The very curvature of a wing, the angle of ascent, the velocity of air all contribute to a fragile equilibrium that transforms potential chaos into graceful motion. This is a powerful metaphor for life itself, for every ambition we pursue, every goal we chase. Success does not come from brute force alone. It emerges from understanding the hidden currents that shape outcomes, from observing, experimenting, and adjusting in ways both small and significant. The moment of suspense is instructive. It teaches that mastery requires awareness, that what appears effortless is often the product of precise calculation and careful respect for natural laws. Just as air responds to a wing in ways that are at once predictable and astonishing, our environment responds to our actions, often in ways we do not anticipate, revealing obstacles and opportunities simultaneously. It is in these moments, the turbulence, the unexpected gusts, the sensation of being lifted higher than we imagined, that insight becomes most valuable. Feynman's philosophy reminds us that nothing in nature is beyond comprehension, only beyond our current attention. If we are willing to observe closely, to question deeply, we can discern patterns that guide us, even when circumstances seem uncertain. Flight, then, is more than mechanics. It is a dialogue between understanding and the unknown, a test of perception, patience, and courage. The suspense of the unseen forces, the invisible pressures and flows of air, mirrors the suspense in our own lives. The uncertainty before a decision, the risk before a leap, the tension between what is possible and what is not yet realized. And yet, when we apply knowledge with care, when we respect the principles at work, that suspense resolves into triumph. The airplane rises, seemingly effortlessly, but the truth is that it has been lifted by insight, by curiosity, by the quiet power of understanding applied with precision. Life, like flight, rewards those who pay attention to the subtle, who notice what is hidden, who learn to navigate the invisible currents with skill and imagination. It is a reminder that mastery of any challenge is never about ignoring complexity. It is about engaging with it, exploring it, and ultimately transforming it into something that elevates us. And now, as we rise above the turbulence of uncertainty, we begin to see the extraordinary simplicity hidden within the complexity of flight, and with it, a lesson that extends far beyond airplanes. Richard Feynman often reminded us that nature does not withhold its secrets. It merely waits for us to pay attention. The air that lifts a plane is invisible, intangible, yet it exerts a force so real that without it, nothing would soar. Similarly, the forces that can lift our own lives, knowledge, curiosity, persistence, courage, are often invisible until we choose to engage with them. Think about the first time you tried something new, something that felt impossible, something that carried risk. There was likely a moment when you doubted, a moment when the path forward seemed unclear, a moment of suspense that mirrored the quiet tension beneath a wing as it cuts through the sky. Yet, just as the airplane eventually rises, harnessing the pressures, the currents, the subtle interactions of air, we too can rise when we align ourselves with principles that are sound, when we observe carefully, when we act thoughtfully. Flight teaches patience. It teaches that progress is rarely instantaneous, that lift does not occur because we want it to, but because we respect the conditions that make it possible. And there is profound beauty in this truth. The very same physics that allow tons of metal to hover above the earth are the same principles that allow our aspirations to take shape. By observing carefully, questioning relentlessly, and applying what we learn, we turn uncertainty into a tool, a force that can propel us forward rather than hold us back. Suspense, the unknown, the invisible currents of life, all become opportunities for mastery rather than obstacles to fear. The lesson is simple but transformative. To rise, we must pay attention, understand the world, and act with insight. Curiosity is our engine, knowledge is our wing, persistence is the thrust that carries us forward. And just as an airplane glides higher when all these forces align, so too do our lives reach new heights when we honor the invisible principles that govern success. There is no magic in flight, no secret formula hidden from view. There is only understanding applied courageously. So when you look at a plane and marvel at its effortless ascent, remember that it is a mirror of what is possible for you. Ordinary elements, observed carefully, understood deeply, applied thoughtfully, can achieve the extraordinary. Life is a series of currents, pressures, and flows, and like the wing of an airplane, you have the ability to navigate them. It begins with noticing, continues with curiosity, and thrives with action. Every time you rise above fear, doubt, or limitation, you are practicing the principles that make flight possible. You are harnessing forces that, though invisible, are real, consistent, and capable of elevating you. Lift is not only a physical phenomenon, it is a metaphor for the human spirit, a testament to what we can achieve when we align knowledge with effort, observation with courage, and patience with persistence. If you are benefiting from our topics, please subscribe, like, and turn on the bell notification so you can see our new videos early.